Live as well. And hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Abhyuday Agarwal, COO and co founder at Lawsico. And I'm also one of the faculty in our labor laws course that we conduct for HR managers, okay, alongside Ashok Naik, sir. So let's look at why HR managers emerge as the top choice to head CSR initiatives in their organizations. Okay, now why did we take this topic up? See, I started working on training HR managers on labor laws in 2018. I noticed that there's a big gap in this area. HR managers need to know the law, but apart from a handful of forms and some compliance requirements, which they mugged up in their MBA or or their undergrad education, they did not have much more idea. So if they had to read and interpret the law, if they had to do some deal with some labor authority, if they had to handle an inspection, all of those things they were not able to do, and they had to rely on advice of consultants, and they had no way to verify that. Even if proceedings went into litigation also, they did not know how to prepare the documentation and all of that. And those are really important tasks, because an HR manager is at the ground level at the organization. Ha- Whatever shape a dispute or a matter takes up, eventually the HR manager is the first line of defense for that. Okay, so one major gap I noticed, that HR managers were therefore afraid of the law. They wanted to avoid legal issues as far as possible, right? So uh, so one area of gap I noticed was their drafting skills. I introduced those in our courses. I trained HR managers on drafting different kinds of contracts, policies, letters, responses to statutory authorities, and documents on disciplinary proceedings. I even taught them a new method on how to read judgments. And you know that even lawyers don't learn how to read judgments in that method systematically. Okay, so I created a new 17-step method for them to read the law, to read judgments, even difficult judgments. And they realize that their knowledge is on par with any trained lawyer after they read it. In fact, they were doing it better, and they were very excited because they realized that now their work gets simplified and they are very clear about how things are moving forward. Okay, so they were very comfortable with it and excited. As they kept feeling more comfortable with the legal interface in their role, their confidence also started to increase. They could let go of the fear of the legal system. They could perform their work in a more hands on manner. I gradually realized that HR managers have a big role to play in the success of the organization through the value added by them. And their role is not administrative or compliance oriented. Yet the problem is that uh, a lot of junior level HR managers think that a lot of company CEOs may give that impression that HR is not a core function, or it's like a sideline the function. But what I noticed is that there is a lot of active value add that HR managers can provide in an organization. A good HR manager could eventually become an HR director or a chief people officer and be responsible for the success of the company or its various subsidiaries, its various initiatives. Okay, it could have 20 companies in its group or even 200 companies in its group. And somebody who's in the place of a chief people officer or an HR director can influence all those companies' activity. So they can be actually like, revenue drivers, not cost centers. A cost center is somebody who is just there for paperwork and compliance, and a revenue driver is someone like someone in the position of sales, for example, gets new business, right? So what I noticed is that if HR managers learn these skills, they could actually apply themselves as revenue drivers. They would save the company costs. Their work was not just doing the form filing and paperwork, but they would save the company import from liability. They may increase the revenues or the profitability of the company by weeding out non-performing people, by eliminating misconduct, and by really setting the culture of the company. So one side of culture of the company is non-legal tools, right? You set it up with your values and all of that. The other side is that you have the bottom line, below which you start taking disciplinary action. So I gradually started to realize that every task that an HR manager does, okay, has an interface with the top line, meaning the revenues, and the bottom line, which is the profits of the company. Okay, so each of these legal tools basically led them to do that more fully. Okay, at that time I started to notice these some new areas of responsibility as well, not just the traditional areas but new areas. Which are these new areas I'm talking about? CSR, for example, is one such area. And I want to share about you about this with you for your benefit, okay, and to share. I did like once we realized that yeah, CSR is going to be really really important for HR managers to lead in the organization. We created exercises around it in our course, and people had to perform that so that they got comfortable with handling CSR related work. Okay, but before we go there, I want to discuss with you whether you know why CSR in the first place is important for organizations at all. Okay, why is it important? I'm happy to take your opinions on chat. Why is CSR important for organizations? So I'm going to share some reasons with you. Okay, it is not an exhaustive list. It is still, it is some of the reasons I've written here. Okay, you will notice that corporate CSR spends are very significant, which means a huge amount of money is to be handled by someone looking at CSR. In 2017 to 2018, approximately 289 companies spent about 7,000 crores, okay, in 1 year. In 4 years, so Companies Act has a provision on CSR. In 4 years, from 2014 to 2018, they spent 68% of the amount, totaling to 52,000 crores. Okay, so the money that is being spent on CSR contribution is huge. Okay, and actually, uh, working on that means that you will be doing a very important role. Why are they spending so much, by the way? I'll just get to that. Okay. With expansion of the corporate sector, this outlay will increase as India is growing in services, in manufacturing. This outlay is going to increase. Okay. Now, there are few legal requirements for CSR which make doing the CSR, engaging in CSR activity mandatory. Okay. There are, if you are not in those requirements, if you are below those thresholds, then it is voluntary. Okay. Otherwise, it is mandatory. Okay, so what are the requirements? You have to pay 2% of your profits to CSR activity. If you have a net worth of 500 crore, okay, net worth, there's a formula to calculate it. Basically, your assets minus liabilities turns out to give you a 500 crore figure, or turnover, meaning revenues of 1,000 crore, or profit amounts to 5 crore or more. Okay, 5 crore or more is not a very high figure of profit to have. Okay, and in that case you have to contribute 2% of your profits to CSR. Now what happens here, okay, is that it's mandatory for companies within that threshold to make contribution to eligible initiatives. All these are written in the Companies Act. Okay, now my job here is not to teach you the law. Point is not that. Point is, if you know that this is the legal system, this is what is happening, and a lot of companies have to spend money on it, then you realize that companies need an officer inside who is there to spend that money. Okay, now the legal and compliance team are not spending that money. The finance team is doing the disbursals. Legal team is doing the compliance. They'll put in the report. They will tell the finance team to calculate the amount. And then that's what the legal compliance team will do. The finance team will calculate the amount, be responsible for the disbursal. But a lot more areas are left out, right? So companies need a resource to do this. SEBI made publishing a separate report on CSR activities mandatory for top. This is not 100 now; it's become 1,000. Okay, this was amended, so it's 1,000 top 1,000 BSE listed companies. Okay, 1,000 is a big number. They have to prepare a separate report on business responsibility. Okay, and that is connected to their CSR activities. So every company which is doing whether so every company which is engaging in CSR activity has to have an some part of their report in on CSR in their annual statements. But the biggest 1,000 listed companies in India have to have more content, specific report on this. In addition to the annual report, they need a full blown content on that. I'll show you the Tata Motors ka report. Okay, in a short while I'll show you Tata Motors ka report on this. CSR has a strategic role for organizations also. You will notice that large corporate groups have dedicated CSR initiatives in house. What does this mean? It's like this, that their main company will have a society or a trust which will be a subsidiary, and this trust, so for the donation what the company will do is they will just give this to their own trust. Okay, companies like, for example, you have Jindal's university, right? Now it is connected with the Jindal corporate group. Okay, now how this is done is a matter of the structuring that's done by legal teams, but big corporate groups have their own non-profit arm also. and company law allows you to do that. So you may do this CSR activity through your own non-profit arm, or you may do it by donating, okay, to by making this contribution to a third party. Okay, now understand this: if you have your own non-profit arm, the work is going to be way more, right? Because you're not just, you're not just shortlisting a project and contributing to somebody. You are actually running the whole CSR operation. Okay, so you have to spend that money, you have to run the operation. Now that opportunity HR managers have, that in both ways, for both these scenarios they can contribute. And I'll give you the breakup. As of 2014 to 18, there's like 4 5 years of data which is already there in a report. Okay, so 24% of the top 100 companies had their own foundation. This was where they had their own non-profit entity, and 52% had their own CSR department. In through that department, they may decide ki we will give it to a third party. And other so 24% had their own foundation. Foundation means the non-profit entity, okay, like a trust or a society or a non-profit company. Education and health are some of the most important CSR sectors. The full list is given in the companies act. Okay, not important right now to know what the list is. Okay, but what you need to know is this. So I'll show you some of the details here. So you will find on the net, okay, 20 top 20 companies spending on CSR in education. Okay, huge amounts are being spent, and you will see the names. All the big companies are here: Reliance, NTPC, Infosys, Wipro, and look at the amounts they are spending. Okay, huge amounts. Tata Steel. Now let's go back. What are the why are companies doing this? What are their strategic benefits? Companies want to do this because of goodwill, because of public relations benefits, okay, because of their branding. It does work in a lot of ways as advertising, okay, and so it's goodwill, and it works for their public relations campaigns. Sometimes there may be opportunities to hire talent also from CSR initiative. Like if you are running hotels, okay, and you want to do CSR, you may want to create a hotel management institute, okay, where you might once in a while hire employees, hire candidates from there. You might give internships to the people who train in that institute in your hotel. Okay, now there are legal restrictions that you can't take money from the institute into the hotel business, but that's fine. The hotel institute can run on its own, but it will supply a very very steady pool of talent for you, right? So like that, companies identify ki these are the sectors we want to have our CSR initiative in. And somebody needs to be there to decide that. Like your CEO, CXOs will decide that, but they will need someone to implement. So HR is a very, very effective partner for that. I'll tell you why. Brand building, I've explained about this. Now, let us look at this. What is required of companies for having a successful CSR initiative? Okay. What does a company need to have its initiative be successful? Any guesses? It's not loading. 1 second. What are the ingredients? Just hang on. So I want you to guess what are the ingredients, and don't think like a lawyer, okay? Think like from an operations perspective also, that the CSR initiative of the company has to be successful. What are the ingredients needed? So one is legal compliance needs to be there because the law requires it. So you have to have your annual report, which will have the disclosures that are written. Okay, that's fine. Decision about whether the initiative must be conducted in-house or externally. Okay, and what are the pros and cons? How will we go about it? Okay, now these are the areas where HR becomes a partner to senior management on each of these. Even for legal compliance, I'll tell you why. The legal and compliance team will say, boss, ये section में ये report जाना है. There are many business aspects of the report that need to be prepared. Okay, business aspects come from the ground level. How many beneficiaries were there? Which projects you contributed to? Sometimes in some of these reports, no, they are on the website of the company. They're required to be on the website of the company. So it becomes like a very attractive brochure. So now these have to be made. These are not made by lawyers. These are not made by company secretaries. HR managers are in a very, very good position to make these. Okay, I'll show you also one of those. Securing the right proposals. If CSR is conducted externally, you have to reach out, have the CSR initiative reach out so that you get the right proposals, right? Otherwise, you will not get applications for the right proposals. You will not be able to spend the money, and you will not be able to get the benefits of CSR, and you will be legally required that you spend that. Okay, so it will be a problem. If you're doing it in house, if you create a trust or a foundation to do it, then it is even more heavy duty work because all the implementation has to be done by you. Okay, then selection of projects. So one was getting the incoming proposals, right? Then you have to narrow down and select which projects to be should we take. Okay, then disbursals for the projects that we have to give. Okay, this much amount. So budget is created by finance. Now what is the amount to disburse per project? Okay, that then internal communications and reporting to stakeholders is very important. What is internal communicate? So what do I mean here? See, you may not have the solo power to decide कि इसमें contribute करना है. That is unrealistic, right? But and you saw the sums are huge. So you will need to have a lot of so you will have a policy in the company that ठीक है, the board will make. But how who will administer the policy? As the policy will say that you have to disperse in this manner, you have to select these projects. So again and again there will be a lot of communication. You will need your drafting skills to be in place for that, and you will need to communicate internally. Okay, for this, for each step of this, and this can be like round the year it can happen. Then you will have to do some reporting. What reporting? This is management reports. Internally you have to report, in form of some MIS, some updates, periodic reports. You have to send to stakeholders ki this is how our CSR spend is working out. Okay, you will need to report to regulators. The regulators meaning what? There is SEBI, which requires you to do some reporting. There is uh, and under Companies Act, the you are required to do some reporting. Reporting may also be to the public. Okay, so the regulators require you to publish the reports to the public. That is important. Then ongoing disbursals, you have to sometimes increase the outlay, change some changes there to the project, or you have to audit or monitor, are the funds being spent for the purpose that they were contributed, or are they being like squandered away, are they being misused? Misuse of CSR funds is a very big problem, and that is why a lot of companies do CSR through by themselves by creating their own non-profit entity. Okay, so audit, and whenever you give it outside to another entity, audit and monitoring is very important. If you do it through your own foundation, then implementing the whole framework is important. The work increases 10 times. Okay, communications and PR with the broader market is very important. Okay, and now look at this. Who are the key company leaders in the CSR initiatives? Top management, CEO, other CXOs, CEOs, what CFO, what will they do? They'll create the policy. They'll create, there's something called a CSR committee. They'll create those things. Okay, finance team will compute the financial amount. They will do the budgeting. When you say to disperse, or when top management says ki abhi paisa disperse karo, then they will allow for the disbursal. Legal and compliance team will prepare, finally submit the report. They will say this is the amount, this is the obligation. Okay, none of this is ground level work. Okay, payment is the ground level work, yes, but what about actually administering the CSR? Where is that ground level work happening? Not yet, not happening. Okay, who can handle these aspects? Who is best positioned to handle these aspects? That's an important question. Okay, so what is the work? According to me, HR, this leaves a very, very big gap. Every company doesn't have the budget to hire a separate dedicated CSR department or a responsibility team. You saw, I showed you the data, only some of the companies hired. Okay, so you have a huge opportunity in front available, an additional KRA available to do this. Okay, work that, what is the work now that HR managers can take up in this process? Let's count the responsibilities. Okay, so one is your selection of projects as per the policy and the whole coordination. So you identify the proposals, vet them, send them initially to the managers, and big PSUs also follow this process. Ground level HR managers have to respond to various proposals for CSR donations. Okay, so you will have to select which projects to be filtered out, which projects to be refused, which projects to be escalated to management, why you may need to prepare further briefing note over and above that. Okay. Then ISO 26000 standard compliance is something you can do. Okay. ISO has a standard for CSR. This is a voluntary and self certification standard. Now, self certification meaning there is no other auditor, there is no consultant who will audit this. Okay. So ISO says that we have these principles for CSR. If you follow these, then and in this and this manner, then you can say that you have systems in consonance with the ISO 26000, and they tell you what words to use to say you're ISO 26000 compliant. How does it help? That kind of self certification helps you in being, again, it's the PR aspect here. Okay, there's no legal requirement that you must comply with ISO 26000, but this is actually a best practice that is there in the industry, and you can comply with Indian law to a level that you can say that I am ISO 26000 compliant in all the areas in which I am doing CSR. Okay, that is the fun about it. You improvement of CSR policies is, again, HR can do that, because on ground, imagine that you saw those Reliance Industries and all these companies were contributing anywhere between 50 crore to 600 crore. Okay, every CSR contribution is not going to work in the strategic interest of the company. Some contributions will work, some will fail. So you will have your lessons from that, right? Now, who will improve those policies based on these lessons? Okay, so you can say koi aur kar sakta hai, but why not you? Because you have actually monitored end use, all of that. You have seen that is the project going on as per plan, as per the proposal, because I donated money. So you're the first person who can propose any amendments to the CSR policies. You can take this to the board and say, why I'm saying board, because under law it is the board which creates a CSR committee. You can take it to them that say that this is the proposed amendment to the policy, and you let me know. I will change it once you approve it, and we will train our internal team on how to do this. L&D expert, for training purpose, who is the L&D expert? L&D expert is HR, right? You are the person who is an expert in training as an HR. So you can do that training after the amendment. Okay. So improvement and training can be HR's responsibility. Monitoring end use, of course, it is HR. Rollover of unused funds. Again, if you realize that budget is available but no projects are there, you may need to roll over the funds. That is something that HR again has to look at. Then preparation of reports for assistance. Why? Because there is a lot of business related data, business meaning on ground related data, that you have to provide. Otherwise these reports under Companies Act and SEBI regulations will not get furnished. Okay, I'll show you one of the reports so you will get a sense of it. Let me just show this to you. Okay, so this is the Tata ka CSR report. Latest, this is 2017 June 2020 for the year. So this is not annual report alone. This is annual CSR report. Okay, look at the design. Okay, Tata Motors is in one of the top listed companies in which you must mandatorily do CSR, not only as per Companies Act but also as per SEBI guidelines. Okay, so now look, and it has to be published on the website. That also the guidelines say. Okay, look at the design. Look at how it has the whole message from the CEO, and look at the kind of graphics, images. Okay, look at how the strategy is explained. Now this is not what lawyers or compliance teams usually write. I mean, there are things that a lot can be take that is there for other teams. Like lawyers think in terms of, traditionally lawyers think in terms of text. They explain what the law is, they explain what the policy is. But you see, this is actually a creative, a process, a design related work. All these skills are required. Here there is a narrative and storytelling related work. Okay, so now tell me something. Okay, who is better placed than an HR who has already been involved from the beginning till the end of the whole donation cycle, of the whole CSR contribution cycle? HR has been involved. So the best person to be placed in this responsibility to create such a narrative which will help the company, okay, for PR and in its interest, is HR. You have knowledge of process, you have monitored the contribution from the beginning till the end. Okay, so at the end you're in the best place either to get this made through the doni, like the project you have contributed to, but you will have to edit it and finalize it and give it to the management. If you don't do it, obviously legal and secretarial team will have to get into it, but this is something that doesn't require legal knowledge, right? Agreed or disagree? It doesn't require, let me know whether you agree or not. Does it require legal knowledge? Does it, can HRs do this? Look, it's a very, very, it's a regular storytelling work, yet it is very, very important, doesn't require specific technical skills, right? Okay, no interaction, guys. What's happening? So, preparation of communication with PR agencies or with press. This is also a very important role for HR managers. You can do this with approval of management. Okay. Why I'm saying that solo you cannot communicate this. You need authorizations. But a lot of times management will say, "Acha, this is a great activity. Let us do some PR around it. Let us get a story covered." You can actually do all of that because you have all the details available with you. So you can connect with the company's PR team or the external PR agency or with press. You can prepare standard formats of communication of press releases which can go out. Okay, so this is for CSR, I'm saying. Okay, not general PR. For CSR, you can do this PR. Every company doesn't have the budget to hire a separate PR and or a separate corporate responsibility team, which is where you have the option to take this kind of role. Okay, it is better placed in the hands of HR. Now, what are the skills that HR need to have to do this work? You have to understand the company's long term strategic interest. Simply by virtue of being there and because you know how to do this kind of work, or because you have interested, you have the interest in performing the CSR work, you will, your management will share enough and more of the company's vision documents, and you will also know because you have been part of the company over a period of time, so you'll understand what's the interest of the company. You should know how to create and implement new processes, how to create new policies. Okay, from what I know about HR has always been a process and policy oriented role. Okay, so this is actually in your expertise area. ISO compliance itself is highly process driven and definitely a strongly suited area for HRs. Communication with internal and external stakeholders, this HR can pick up if they are not already doing it. Alignment and coordination of top management is also necessary. Now, my question is this: how would it be if you could take up this responsibility? How would it help you increase your value or your importance in the company? What if the directors could rely on you for this? Okay, that is my question. Will it help you? Will it improve your positioning? If you're a lawyer or a CS, of course you're free to take this up. But if you're an HR, even then, how would it help you? What do you all think? Share your views. Okay, even if you're studying, you share your views. Everybody in the session, you share your views. What is your opinion about it? Would it help your career? Imagine the kind of growth you would have in the company. Okay, and assume for now that you will have your your HR skill sets also. You can't just go to a company in the and say I'll only do CSR. You'll have to do the HR work also. But if you did HR work plus an additional job you took up this role, then how would it help you? Yeah, so it'll help with employer branding function and link it with talent management teams. Very good. Okay, it directly makes you, now I'm sharing some of the things, that some of the reasons I think that it will help you. Okay, it directly makes you a suitable candidate for top 1000 BSE listed companies in terms of market capitalization. This is one skill that they all value. You will tell them that I know how to do this and I know my regular HR work also, and so this responsibility will be handled. Then what else? A fast growing company which may come up in the top 1000 BSE ka basket, that also can be your target. Oh, by the way, even the SME, even the companies listed which are SMEs, no, they also have to comply with this. There is 1000 BSE listed companies and 1000 small and medium enterprises which are listed on the SME side of the exchange. So those are smaller companies, they also have to do this. Then you can start a dedicated consultancy practice, right? CSR consultancy exclusively, you can say I'm going to do CSR consultancy, or you can add a CSR arm to your HR consultancy. If you want to do, if ever you want to do this independently, then you can start saying that, I am a CSR consultant only. Or you can say I'll add a CSR wing to my HR consultancy, which involves various other kinds of work. You could also join specific business responsibility teams of companies. So some teams में क्या होता है कि some companies have HR plus they separately have a corporate communications team or a business responsibility team. Okay, big companies have that. So you can apply for them these areas, or in your own company you can also do some work with business responsibility team, which means that you have opportunity to take up more roles or shift roles if you want to change roles. Would it excite you? Would this kind of growth and an opportunity, would it be exciting for you? What do you think? So the thing is that for lawyers, there's like couple of sections here, some format of the SEBI report, but there is so much more to do for HR managers here. And so it's like really an open field for you. Now remember this, okay? But if you want to succeed as an HR manager, apart from CSR, you may want to handle some other responsibilities as well, right? This is not the only thing. Which are the other responsibilities that you want to handle? Okay, so now some of you have been attending my earlier webinars, and I want to ask you that which are the other responsibilities that you would like to handle? So, for example, you may want to handle data protection, you may want to handle uh, disciplinary proceedings, termination, you may want to handle compliance, obviously, that you can take up payroll compliance, you can take up handling, responding to various labor authorities. Okay, you can take up working on drafting policies, okay, for code of conduct or other policies, posh policy, leave and attendance policy, media policy, okay, yeah, culture setting would be there, IR related work you can take up. So if you take the whole set up, okay, all of those together, yeah, media management. So in media management, again, one is the legal side that I was saying, that you do the CSR side and then you do PR, okay, or you can just take up media management, that's fine, okay. But you can take the standard HR role, I'm just saying from the standard HR role what all you can bring, and add to that CSR to become a irresistible hire and an irresistible candidate for promotion to the top levels of a company, right? And interestingly, you will notice there are many provisions in India, many laws which don't get implemented or which are not followed. CSR provisions are being very, very strictly followed by companies. Okay. And that means that this is going to continue, its outlay is going to increase. Because why? Indian corporate sector is growing, right? There's growth in service sector, there's encouragement in manufacturing. I shared yesterday how much encouragement in manufacturing is happening. So you will expect this area to grow much more. And now let me show you what SEBI has said, okay? So this is the provision basically saying the annual report, okay? This is on the annual report. Now what the annual report of the top 1,000 listed entities will do, okay? They will have a separate business responsibility report describing initiatives taken by them from an environmental, social, and governance perspective in a format specified by the board. So, see, the description of these initiatives can be done by you as an HR manager. And what does it say about others? Listed entities other than top 1,000 based on market capitalization. So, others. So now we are looking at non-top 1,000. Top 1,000 may I say directly you can go and work with their CSR teams. But others, you can uh, other entities and entities which have their securities listed on SME exchange may include this in a voluntary basis. Okay, it's not mandatory, but on a voluntary basis you can do this. And why would you not, right? If it's giving you an advantage, if it's improving the brand building of the company, then you will always want to do it. Correct. Now this is the format also. Like what you saw, the report of Tata, this is now, look at this part. Okay, this is the format. They have given the format here. Okay, and then they have given the principles here. So Annexure 1 is here. So there are some details which will be filled up by others. But what is the detail that you can fill up? See, principle wise performance. There are various aspects here, questions on the principles. So they have principles and then you have to tick mark. You can easily fill this. This has nothing to list up to 3 of your products whose design has incorporated social or environmental concerns. Provide the details in respect of resource use. Does the company have procedures in place for sustainable sourcing? Okay. Then please indicate the number of complaints relating to child labor, forced labor, sexual harassment, involuntary labor. Has the company mapped its internal external stakeholders? All the HR always do that. They will prepare key who are the vendors, who are the internal people, who are the contract laborers, who are the contractors. Okay, this is additional. This may have to be done. Okay, so they have like these principles. Now this part you can do it directly. Does the company have strategies to address global environmental issues? You have to sit down with top management, take these up in like monthly meetings or quarterly meetings and get things moving. Okay, this is all. Okay, look at this. Does the company display this? You will get from legal. Okay, did the company carry out any consumer satisfaction survey? This can be done by you. You're getting the difference, no? And these are the principles. Okay, very similar to what you may incorporate in your company values and your code of conduct. Notice. Okay, a lot of companies put this in their code of conduct for employees. You will say you promote the well-being of your colleagues, but here it's saying businesses should promote the well-being of all employees. But it's connected, right? How many of you think it's connected to what you already might want in your company values? Now you are translating that company values part into this report here. Followed? Okay, now let me see if I can show you an ISO 26000 ka format. Okay. So this is an exercise we had created for HR managers, and what I did is I took up the ISO 26000 format. Okay, and I gave the category. So ISO 26000 has many categories to of headings. Okay, which you can use. So now look at this labor. So these are the things you have to do, and you're already doing this. Some of you are already doing a good part of this. This is there in your Equal Remuneration Act. Okay, this is already there in IR. This is there in Child Labor Act. Okay, then you have to just say that, is this within HR function? Can it be voluntarily assumed? What are the possible actions you can take to voluntarily assume this responsibility? Then there will be more health and safety risk, workers' family lives when making scheduling decisions. So thoda sa aage jata hai. It goes a little beyond the law. Avoid contracting with suppliers who use unfair or abusive labor practices. Okay, develop incentives for performance on social responsibility. Okay, so there are a lot of these. Create ways to track decisions and their implementation. Implement processes for two-way communication with stakeholders. So you can create feedback structures and all of that. Surveys you can do. Environment is another area. Fair operating practices another area. Human rights is another one. And then I'll say how it actually. So human rights is not necessarily for lawyers, right? You agree with that? Is there anybody who thinks that human rights matlab lawyers ka kaam hai? See, examine treatment of vulnerable groups in your context, such as indigenous peoples, girls and women, those who were discriminated against. So everybody has this is a proper social context. That's it. Provide remedy and grievance procedures, consumer issues. Okay, HR can do this with respect to in coordination with the product team. Okay, कम्युनिटी इन्वॉल्वमेंट, ये तो हर बिजनेस चाहता है. एवरी बिजनेस वांट्स कम्युनिटी इन्वॉल्वमेंट फॉर their branding also, for their hiring also, for their goodwill also. Okay, every big business will say that we want to involve the local community so that a competitor won't come and dislodge us. You know that all businesses want community involvement there, because whatever bigger business comes in with a lot of capital and starts offering the products for cheaper amount, क्योंकि उनका बहुत बड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट है, तो क्या करोगे? A business will rely on this. How deep are its roots in the community? This will make the community stick to the business. Okay, so now here there is a business aspect, there's an ISO aspect, okay, and the CSR part is happening. So HR managers, now you see, if an HR manager is doing this, can you notice that this is not a paperwork kind of work? This is actually a proper strategy related work. And I'll show you what is the disclosure you make when you are ISO 26000 compliant. Okay, forms of disclosure is, so this is how you do it, because no consultant is certifying you, right? So you can declare yourself like this: we have used or applied 26000 as a framework or a guide or a basis, or we recognize this as a reference document, or there are other wordings which are here on this page. Okay, here, based on ISO 26000, like that. And this is not correct because it is self certification, so you can't say it is certified. So these are some of the ways in which we teach you these skills. Okay, so I'm giving you an example of how CSR is important and how some of the HR managers who were studying the course with us learn these skills. Okay, in case you all are interested, for anybody who's interested in learning more, okay, about how you can build your career as a senior level HR manager, as an HR director, or as a chief people officer. You know what a CPO is, chief people officer, in a company. So if anybody is interested, what kind of roles I must take up, how will legal help me in that, how will understanding of legal aspects help me in that, you can reach out to Zair on the link I'm sharing, 84 on the number 84395 72315. Okay, and he can help you out with how you can use legal skills, how LawSeco can help you with that. We have a 6-month labor and industrial laws course with very exhaustive live classroom training, study materials, practical exercises, feedback systems, all of that. Okay, so he'll explain to you, and this course has recently got Skill India recognition by, okay, so it is now Government of India recognized through the Skill India initiative of the government. Okay, so a lot of our students were saying that we want a government recognition. What's can this be recognized? So we are very grateful that Skill India has agreed to recognize it, and it's written on our website. I'll just show you. So I'll show you that, and then I'll also show you how to stay connected with us and continue to receive information about our further webinars. Okay, so this is the diploma in labor laws link. There's a batch which closes on 20th February, meaning you start learning from 1st March onwards. Okay, this is the link. You all can take a look at this to understand what you will learn. There are some free study materials also that you can download. Okay, and now, so this is the link, and you can see the recognition here. Okay, so that's one. And now let me show you how to stay in touch with upcoming webinars. So I'll show you some of our, so you go to lawseco.com/webinars and you see here. Um, so I'm inviting you all to sign up for my workshop first, 3-hour workshop on this link, how to accelerate your HR career with drafting and legal skills. Okay. You can sign up for this workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop. Then upcoming webinars. So this was today. You just attended this. On 16th, that's tomorrow, how to handle employment related formalities of CXOs. This is at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, a 360-degree perspective. Okay. 17th, legal challenges for HR managers in a remote or hybrid workplace. Okay, these are the ones coming up in the next 2 days. You can click on register now like this and sign up for them. Okay, and type in your name, details, and sign up. Okay, and I also look forward to your. So, who's interested in attending the 3-hour workshop on how to accelerate your legal career using your HR career using legal skills? This is the link. Let me put it on the group. It's there on the group. So you can go here and register right away. Okay, those of you are interested. It's free. It's for 3 hours, 6 to 9 p.m. Okay. All right, Manish, I'll get you a call. Okay. So as you all register, you all can also share with me uh, what your takeaways are from today. Okay, how can you apply this conversation going forward? So share your feedback. How can you apply it, and let me know. Okay. Was this useful for you? Please rate the session. Okay. All right. Has anybody else registered for it? Manish, Heman, anybody else registered? You can go ahead and complete it now so that you keep getting the reminders. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for being there today, and see you tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. You can sign up for the session. Okay. And thank you very much. Bye.